question.
Yeah.
Who in here knows what a KWL chart is?
KWL.
What is it?
A KW.
Who knows what this is right here? What is it used for?
Like, when, and how.
Okay, anybody else?
Like, what you learn.
What's it used for?
Oh, he just said it was like, right, like what you know and like what you learn and stuff like that.
What you know, what you learn, and what's the last one?
What you learn.
The last one is what?
What I learned.
What you want to know, right?
Yes.
So I know some of y'all might not like this topic. I know Javion does it, because he told me he did.
No, I said they ain't know it.
Nah, I'm talking about this. Somebody tell me, Javion, get to go first. What do you know about Christopher Columbus?
He claimed that he discovered the America.
Oh, I know.
I know them by heart. Cool, everybody.
He discovered America. What else?
He said that he from the
Hold on.
he said that he been selling for 1,492 years.
He said for how long?
1,492.
Anybody else got something that they already know? Shakira?
Never mind.
Anybody else?
What else?
He's not alive.
He did what?
He's not alive.
You all have your own KWL chart in your Google Classroom, okay? So whatever you go to, whatever you want to put for the K part, which is what you already know, that is what you can put. It can be what we've already discussed, or it can be whatever you come to later on. If you go to Miss Turner's classroom and press classwork, at the very top, you will see Columbus assignment. Everybody press that for me really quickly.
Okay. Do you want us to open it or something?
Okay, everybody got it up? Everybody got this up right here?
No,
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Shakira, you're number 1. KD, you're number 2. Melissa, number 3. Javion, number 4. 5. And after we do 5, we'll see what's left. If you're number 1, you can, let's read first.
It's still on. Columbus sailed the ocean blue for 22, and he landed in the Bahamas. As soon as news of the discovery made it back home, Spain and
Portugal.
Portugal raced to claim as much of the New World as they could. By the 1530s, the new empire had claimed the
Majority.
majority of North, Central, and South America.
Ready?
Keep going.
It will be another 100 years before other European nations like England, France, and
Netherlands.
Netherlands decided to shake and swim in the New World. By then, not much territorial was left to explore. Settled and
Colonized.
colonized by England, was able to claim a huge territory on the east coast of North America. By 1670, English colonists
Mm-hmm.
lived all along the Atlantic coast of what is now the United States.
So somebody tell me, what did England colonize? What was England able to do?
Still,
Claim a huge territory.
They were claiming a huge territory from what? What was the territory from?
French. It was from French and the North. The North,
European.
It was on the coast of what?
America.
South,
North what?
east, and coast of the
North America.
North America. It's right. Y'all gotta go back to our text. But England was able to claim a huge territory of North America. Who was number 3?
Melissa.
Come on.
Exploring new land is cheap, and it is easy. What motivated nations like England to colonize the New World? 3 words can sum it up: gold, God, and glory. Gold refers to the money
Europeans.
Europeans hoped to make from resources and opportunities in new territory. God represents the
Religious.
reason colonists came to the New World. Many were looking for a place where they could freely practice their religion. Many also hoped to convert Native Americans to
Christianity.
Christianity that will glory, also known as bragging rights. Kings and queens across Europe wanted to show off how powerful they were by controlling vast expanses of land across the earth.
So someone said, what did the kings and queens want to do?
Practicing religion.
They wanted to show off.
Show off what?
They wanted to show off their powerful.
Powerful that they were
They're powerful.
controlling this. What they were
By controlling the vast expanses of land across the Atlantic.
So they want to prove that out of everyone else, they had the most power, right?
Yes.
And what proves that you have the most power? You need what?
Money.
Money. And what's another word for money? What did they use?
Gold.
Money? Gold. Speaking of gold, somebody read. If you were next, read the next one for me.
You'll want it like it or not.
Speak up a little bit.
You'll want it like it or not. Exploding natural resources is hard work.
Read the one above this one. Where's the gold?
Where's the gold? Wealthy individuals looking to make a profit sponsored the first settlement in North America. They formed companies that outfitted explorers and settlers to go strike it rich in the new land. They quickly discovered the eastern part of North America didn't have gold and silver like South America did, but the continent made up for it in other natural resources, rich farmland, supporting cash crops like tobacco, and endless forests providing timber for shipbuilding and wood was rich in furs for trade, but in Europe, these products helped build community and merchants and planters that would shape a governed colony
Society.
society.
So in places that didn't have a lot of money, how did they get their income? They used other things like what? Gold. If you didn't have gold, you used what?
If you have gold, they use farms.
They used what?
Farms.
Crops and
Farms.
okay, birds. What else?
Tobacco.
Tobacco.
Endless forest.
Shipbuilding.
Shipbuilding, that's a craft that y'all had.
And woodland, no.
They had rich farmlands like crops, you grow your own fruit, vegetables. Anything else?
No, sir.
Okay. Marquise.
It's me.
I'm sorry. Javian, read this last part. Read it aloud for me.
Exploiting natural resources is hard work, and the colonists needed labor. The first labor came from indentured servants who agreed to work in America for a number of years in exchanges for travel, express, and a place to live.
Colonial.
Colonial
Landowners.
landowners paid those costs, and the servants come over hoping for better opportunities in the long run. But this volunteer migration didn't produce enough labor. Soon the colonists turned to forced migration, taking people from Africa and forcing them to work as slaves in America. Slaves had no hope of ever receiving wages or freedom.
So that means people who were working for little to no money were called what?
Slaves.
And it said migration. What does migration actually mean?
Taking people
Like taking people from their home.
from their
So you go from one place to another, right?
Yes.
And why was it expensive to exchange travel?
For expenses and a place to live.
Okay. So was it voluntary or involuntary?
volunteer.
Voluntary. No one can force you, right?
No.
Okay, I want us to read this last one where it says religious freedom.
To get
Read it.
Read it out loud for me.
England in the 1600s had a lot of conflict among different visions of Christianity. The official religion was the Church of England, but not everyone belonged to it. Other Christian groups included
Catholics,
and
various
Protestant
Christians,
both of whose beliefs different from the Church of England. Some groups faced hostility.
hostility. I'm sorry, I found one. Hostility.
Huh?
Hostility.
Hostility in England, and their members looked to Americans for a place to practice their religion in place. However,
Peace.
that they didn't mean they thought others should enjoy the same peace. In the New World religion, settlers created two types of colonies.
Mm-hmm.
One with strict religious rules and ones without.
So back in the 1600s, could you have freedom to do what you wanted to do?
No.
If you wanted to practice Christianity, some people could, some people couldn't. If you want to be a Catholic or Puritan, you have to have strict guidelines for whatever you want to do. And some places you go to didn't always give you a choice. You can go to one place and they will tell you, if you want to do this, you have to follow these rules. You can go to another place and tell you, you only have to be this. If you don't want to be a part of this group, you cannot stay here, right? Let's see. Melissa, can you read loud for me? Can you read this section as loud as you can?
English groups that established colonies for religious reasons set up their own rules for the colony. Check out these examples. The Massachusetts Bay Colony was established in 1630 in Puritan, a religious group that had been harassed and punished by the English government. In America, they set up a colony with very strict rules. Colonies who didn't follow the rules were punished or driven out. The colonies of Connecticut and Rhode Island were started by who left Massachusetts. They created different sets of rules for religious practice. The colony of Maryland was set up in 1632 by a wealthy English family that was Catholic. This attracted other Catholics who were persecuted in England to settle in Maryland too. The colony of Pennsylvania was established in 1681 by a Christian group called the Quakers. They also faced problems in England but believed in tolerance for other regions, not just their own.
Okay, so like I just said, people had different beliefs, right? So you can go to Pennsylvania, they can tell you one thing. You can go to Maryland, they tell you another. You can go to Massachusetts, they tell you something else. People left and made different groups, different colonies, different cities, because wherever they were originally, they were not happy. You cannot expect somebody to want to be free and have their own opinions and beliefs, and you tell them if you want to believe what you want to believe, you cannot stay here. You will leave too, right? Okay, so let's see. A piece of the glorious pie. The United States traced its roots to the English colonies, but England wasn't the only nation who was state in North America. European nations competed with each other for the glory of controlling territory here. Having a piece of the New World pie, the nations controlled strategic places like rivers and seaports that were critical for transporting goods around the globe from the New World. Can someone tell me what I just read? I just summarized it.
The seals,
Come on.
the seals of the Massachusetts colony show the Native Americans saying, "Come over and help us."
Okay.
I'm gonna summarize. Never mind.
Come on.
You just read about the United States roots and the English colonies, and about the England. They wasn't the only nation with a state in North America.
Yes, everybody had a little piece. Everybody wanted the same land, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if everybody's fighting over one thing, what do you think would happen? Did they actually win? Did they actually fight over? Did they all just make a treaty and say we're going to share it?
They made a treaty.
Or what?
No, they fight it for us. No, they fight for us.
Okay, and what's the term that they used? They didn't use win the victory. They used what?
Americans.
What's the word they used? It's in the title.
A piece of glorious pie.
The word what?
Glorious.
So when you see the word glorious, you know it means what?
Pie.
It means good, it means victory, it means anything positive, right? So we just read through this, correct? Raise your hand if you think that you learned something new that you didn't learn, that you didn't know before we read it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So with that being said, I need to switch.
Go to that.
Everybody go to your KWL chart.
Okay. Open it with Kim.
So if we know we said he sailed.
Teachers, pardon the interruption. If you will, go ahead and put your sizes down on the document that we share about the t-shirts. We appreciate it. Thank you.
We said he sailed for many years, he's no longer living, and Javion said that he discovered America.
I'm still low.
Put the quotation mark.
He's not alive.
But since we read, I want to talk about what we learned. Javion, what's one thing that you learned in this story that I can put on the L column?
I learned the colony of Pennsylvania was established in 1681 by a Christian group called the Quakers.
So Pennsylvania was discovered by Quakers. Shakira, what's one thing that you learned from the passage?
I learned that the colonies of the I learned that the colonies of no, I learned that the islands were started by those who left Massachusetts.
Islands were started by those who left Massachusetts. Melissa, can you tell me one thing that you learned from all the story, from the passage that you read?
Not sure. Yeah.
That what?
That exploring new land isn't cheap.
That exploring new land isn't cheap. Somebody give me one more thing I can use.
Did I say colony?
Colony. Katie, what's one thing that you learned from this passage?
There was one point in time they had to do something, but the stay home.
So we have 5 so far. We have colony of Pennsylvania was discovered by Quakers. The islands were started by those who left Massachusetts. That exploring new land is not cheap, and you have to follow strict rules to live in certain colonies. So we have what we already knew. We have what we learned. Somebody tell me what's one thing that you actually wanted to know that the story didn't tell you.
I want to know why they had to actually discover America.
Did he actually discover America? What about you?
I want to know why they had to like follow a rule that's specific. Oh, that's right. I'll leave it down to like one down.
I don't have time for you. Okay, so we have why did they follow strict religious rules? Did Christopher actually discover America, I'm sorry. I need 2 more people to give me one. Javin, what's one thing that you would actually want to learn that the story didn't tell you? What's one thing you would want to learn that the story didn't tell you?
They didn't tell me that. Well, you talking about this story like when we first read it.
Mm-hmm. Was one thing that you wanted to know that you still want to know the story didn't answer for you?
I wanted to know that. Dang, they are good. Is Christopher Columbus still alive?
Okay, we know he's not alive anymore. Marquise, give me one thing that you still want to know.
Oh, like I said, what she said about did he really discover America?
Jala,
How old is he today?
how old would he be today? Somebody give me one more.
How old was he when he discovered America?
Okay. Anybody else? What about all the things they had to do, like tobacco and crops and share farming and stuff like that? What about all the gold they had?
I want to know. I don't want to know where they get the gold from, cause like to this day ain't no such thing as gold was real.
Anybody else? Shakira?
I want to know what did they do to gold?
What did they do with it? What did they buy it on? Okay, good. So what we already knew, he sailed for many years. He's no longer living. He discovered America. What we learned after reading was colony of Pennsylvania was discovered by Quakers. Islands were started by those who loved Massachusetts. That exploring new land was definitely not cheap, which is probably what they spent all the gold on. And who had to follow, why did they have to follow strict rules to live in certain colonies? What we still want to know, why did they follow religious guidelines? Did Christopher really discover America? How old would he be today? How did they get the gold that they got? And what did they spend all the gold on?
What's that?
So maybe next time we read about it, some of your questions might be asked. Does anybody have any more questions?
No, sir.
No? Okay, thank y'all.